Hey guys, this is going to be a beginner's guide for people who start playing Reverse1999 in the version 3.3 or in the following version 3.4. The very first time you will log in, you will have an item called Encased Nominations in your inventory right here at Consumables. When you click on this item, you can choose one character out of a specific selection. The character that we're gonna choose this time is gonna be this character right here, An Lee. That is for the very simple reason that you will try to accomplish yourself an entire team in the version 3.4 already. Now keep in mind that this game you shall play it as a marathon and not a rush. It takes a little bit of time to put a team together here. In this team we have multiple different archetypes and we put characters from these archetypes together to build a very good synergy and therefore have a very well functioning team. An Lee is gonna be the very first piece for a very brand new team that we call Planned Prompto. You can see this one right here. This is a Dynamo archetype team and so on and so forth. More onto this kind of topic a little bit later on. So pick An Lee from the Encased Nominations. The very first thing that you need to understand is that you have to get your hands onto a main DPS character as fast as possible, and we have 100 free pulls in total here. On this banner right here called the Snow of Dusho, you get 10 free pulls every single day until you have obtained 100 free pulls in total. You have to understand here that you choose the character Corvus, because Corvus is a main DPS character, which is the most beneficial thing for your account. And we have something called Euphoria updates in Reverse1999. That is a buff to old characters to minimize the effect of something we call power creep. And a lot of characters in this game therefore only function with these Euphoria updates established. As a new player, you will have trouble establishing enough Euphoria updates for your team, for any team that you will try to accomplish. There are always multiple Euphoria updates for characters needed, and you will simply not find these keys of thought here, the material that you need to establish yourself a Euphoria update enough early on. So you want to go with characters that, or with as many characters as possible early on, that don't need to establish a Euphoria update in order for them to function and perform at their highest level. So from these free 100 pulls here, choose the character Corvus. Corvus is a main DPS that doesn't need a Euphoria update. She is a viable main DPS character for the Dynamo archetype. The Dynamo archetype is one of the best teams in the entire game, and you will establish that team more and more as we are moving forward. For example, in version 3.6 there is a character that is called Enigma. He is gonna be released and he is the sustain character, aka the healer for the Dynamo archetype team. So there we go. Here in version 3.4 you go for Corvus from these 100 free pulls. Then 2 versions later, you will grab yourself another piece to build a team around Corvus with Enigma. Okay, now you have to understand how the gacha system in this game works. This is very key information, because we're not gonna always pull for free. We're not gonna have this luxury every single version. We barely have this ever, right? We are now in the half anniversary, so therefore, and yeah, the game developers for Reverse1999 are pretty generous, and we have a very free-to-play friendly game here on our hands. That is part of the, like a huge part of the beauty of this game. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the banners here. If you would pull, for example, for Beth, which you of course shouldn't do. That is another very, very important thing. There is a whole bunch of misinformation out there, and yeah, you have to make sure to avoid that. This is a gacha game, so you have to understand the gacha system in that game. You will have to figure out what characters you pull for. And in order for you to do that, you have to understand that if you pull for a character, it is always, especially in the beginning, a very, very huge investment. Look, I just told you to grab Corvus, right? Now that we grabbed Corvus, we make a commitment to the Dynamo archetype team, because if we pull for a character, we have to understand what the best teammates in the game are for this character, and moving forward we will have to try to accomplish a team. Otherwise, if you wouldn't do that, right, if you would just get Corvus and then would never build a team around her, never get characters that synergize with her, she would become completely useless, and therefore in a longer run you would make a character that you already have invested in useless and go gather dust, right? That is never something that you want. You want to make every single bunny that you invest to count and to be useful. Bunnies are unilogs, what we call in this game, and that is the currency that we use to pull for characters. Okay, now that we know that we pull for Corvus, we commit to the Dynamo archetype team. Okay, here is a very, very important thing. You can see these unilogs. Oopsie. Here you can see the unilogs, right? The currency that we have to pull. The banners, every single banner in this game pretty much always works that at 70 pulls, you have a 50-50% chance of obtaining the rate up character. So I would do 6-10 pulls for Beth right here. Then I would have a very high chance, a tremendously high chance, to go out of these 60 pulls here with absolutely nothing whatsoever. If I do 70 pulls though, I have a character guaranteed and a 50-50% chance that that character would actually be the character that I pulled for. So I would have a 50-50% chance to obtain Beth with 70 pulls. Okay, that is not what you're gonna aim for. For double the amount, so for 140 unilogs, I have a copy of Beth 100% guaranteed, and that is always what you want to do. Never pull on any banner whatsoever if you don't have at the very least 140 unilogs. If you pull on a banner and you don't have at least 140 unilogs, you are gambling and you take a tremendous risk to waste your entire investment. However many unilogs you invested to pull, you go out there, you have a tremendously high chance to walk out of your pulls with absolutely no gain. You flush your most valuable resource in the game down the drain for no gain. That's why, let me repeat that, never pull on any banner, no matter what, unless you have at least 140 unilogs. Only then are you guaranteed a good result. Okay, now there is a little bit of a banner here that you obtain the character that you choose. First of all, you can choose a character here out of a specific selection. And after 70 pulls, you obtain that character 100% guaranteed, no 50-50 bullshit, right? That is what we call the Euphoria banner. Those are always characters that need or just got their Euphoria update in the version that we are currently in. Those Euphoria updates are always a key part and what you will have to establish. So sometimes it occurs that a character sees a rerun, like Beth. You would never ever pull on any rerun banner whatsoever. You wait until the character receives her Euphoria update, and in that version, that Hisabeth would receive a Euphoria update, she will be on the Euphoria banner and you will be able to guarantee yourself that character for half the price. Because one more time, on this banner you need only 70 Unilogs and not 140. That is very, very important to know. Okay, now we understand how banners work. On a regular banner, you never pull unless you have 140 Unilogs. For the Euphoria update banner, called Ripples on the Water, you need 70 Unilogs. If you don't have that amount, you don't pull, no matter what. Okay, we know that from the encased nominations, the item that is in your inventory, we're gonna grab the character An Li. From the 103 pulls right here on the Snow of Dushou banner, we're gonna grab Corvus with that. In version 3.4, that is joining the fray on April 16, we will get a new banner. There's of course every single version, we have 2 characters that drop. In version 3.4, the character Paper Heron will drop. That is a character that we will save up for. We're gonna grab Corvus, which is a main DPS character, and since she does not require a Euphoria update, she will carry ourselves through this story. The story is of course, like it is in every single game, the content that you have to clear as fast as possible, because that gives you currency to pull on banners and to obtain the characters. Every time you have a reflection to clear, you go ahead and do this. Those also give you a pretty good and heavy amount of resources to pull characters for. Whenever you have an anecdote that you haven't cleared, you're gonna go ahead and clear that anecdote. You know what I mean? In case you would ever get stuck in the story, then you have resource stages here that give you dust and Charpedontes respectively. Those are resources that you will need in order for you to upgrade your character. You're gonna go to crew, you're gonna click on the character that you wanna update, you increase the level and you increase the insight. In case you wouldn't know, like, hey, how do I actually obtain an item that I need here? Where can I get the item? You don't have to worry, because one second, let me actually show you this here. If you click on Insight, and yeah, here you need a bunch of different materials. You don't know, hey, I need this salted mandrake. Where do I get it? No problem. You can see here that the game actually leads you towards wherever you can obtain that resource. So you can buy it in the shop, you can craft it in the wilderness, or you have a stage in the story where this item drops. If you have such a stage unlocked, the game will show you this right here, and they will lead you to stages that have that item. You click on one where best case the item would be 100% guaranteed, but as you can see here, some items, they only have a possible chance to drop. You go to one of those stages, you can clear these stages here on autoplay. If you have beaten them once already, you're gonna go ahead and do that until you obtained the amount of this item that you need in order for you to upgrade your character. That's as easy as it gets. Okay, Corvus to clear the story. What are we gonna do in An Li though? What is that character from? As I said, in version 3.4, there will be a character called Paper Heron that drops. Paper Heron will team up together with An Li to build a very new, strong team. So you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna pull for Paper Heron, but only at the point where you have 140 Unilogs. Don't go in and pull before you do not have 140 Unilogs. Don't worry, the Paper Heron banner will stay here for an entire version for a very, very long time. You are 100% guaranteed to get your hands onto that character. Now, you have to obtain one more piece. Here, this Ripples on the Water banner. If on April 16 version 3.4 drops, this banner will change the selection of characters that you can take here. In this banner, in version 3.4, on April 16, there will be the character present called Tooth Fairy. You're gonna invest a further maximum amount of 70 Unilogs in order for you to obtain the character Tooth Fairy. And then you have Paper Heron, An Lee, and Tooth Fairy in order for you to create a very, very new and very, very strong team right out of the gate. You have to keep in mind, as I said, this is a marathon and not a rush. Both An Lee and Tooth Fairy need the Euphoria update in order for them to function in the intended way. So once you obtain these characters and you play them, you will think, oh, these characters are pretty bad, they are not getting the job done. True, don't worry though, establish the correct Euphoria updates and you will see that these characters, especially when you play all of them together with the Euphoria updates, they will absolutely crush the content for you. Now, this game is a little bit weird when it comes to endgame content. The endgame content in this game is, at least for the most part, complete trash. You might even go as far and say there is no endgame content, because the content that we would, or that most players would say is the endgame content, doesn't give you any rewards whatsoever. It is not worth clearing that content in any way, shape or form. So the content, weirdly enough, that matters the most in this game is the artificial somnambulism. Here we have Limbo and Lucidscape. This is content that resets after a certain amount of time. You can see here this device resets in 23 days and the Limbo resets in 8 days. That is the content that, as you can see here, it rewards you with clear drops. Clear drops are combined and they form a unilog. That is the most important resource in this game. That's what you need to pull for the characters. So this is the content, the Limbo and the Lucidscape is the content that you want to make sure you can clear whenever it resets every single time as fast as you possibly can. So the most important part for you is to create 2 teams that are at least strong enough to clear this content. And we already committed to a what we call impromptu team with Paper Heron and An Lee and Tooth Fairy, plus we pulled for Corvus. Corvus should be also strong enough to clear the content for you for the time being. Okay, we have one team established pretty early on. Like Tooth Fairy will be good enough to sustain Paper Heron through the story content. What do we pair Corvus with though? The only thing that you pretty much need is a healer for Corvus to keep her alive a little bit, right? That's all you need for the story. And you can either make a purchase for $1 and get Genisei from the shop. There is a package that allows you to choose Genisei as one of the characters. You can go ahead and do that. Or you get the character called Le Source in the very beginning for free as well. She is a pretty good sustain in the very beginning and good enough to clear the story content. So definitely invest into these characters. Yeah, if you want to like spend the $1, or Le Source is definitely also a viable choice to invest into in the very early game just to sustain your main DPS character. Furthermore, it of course depends on what you get while you pull for Paper Heron and what you get from the process of using your free 10 summon here every single day. If you want a little bit of assistance on that part, go ahead, join my Discord server, link to that in the description down below. There you can feel free to ping me whenever you want, and I and many other very friendly and helpful players will guide you a little bit through your journey if you please, or if you ask for it, right? Easy as that. In case you're wondering, like, oh, I have some like 5 stars here, no one talks about these characters, I have no idea who to use, can you tell me real quick? people will gonna tell you the correct solution there, no problem whatsoever. And those are pretty much all the things that you have to know for now. Again, like the most important parts is to understand the 70 pity and to never pull unless you have 140 unilocks, and know which characters to pull for, and that a character, whatever you pull for, is always a commitment to the archetype. So you pull for Corvus, 2 seconds later, she's from the Dynamo archetype, right? Then 2 seconds later there's another character that drops from the Dynamo archetype. You gotta pull for that character until you have a Dynamo team fully established. That is something that you should be aware of. Then we could talk about a little bit of a priority when it comes to what content to clear first. Of course, the story here, the main story first. Then every single version we have another story. For this version in 3.3 here, the story is called The Campaign's Tale. You're gonna clear that to completely finish out and empty out the shop here. There are very, very cheap and very, very good materials to obtain for yourself. And those are the 2 highest priorities. After that, make sure you clear the reflections and the anecdotes, right? You will unlock content like the window to other worlds, etc, etc, the 3 doors, of course. Every content that you haven't cleared yet, clear it. Story content first, then reflections, then anecdotes. That is gonna be your priority list. As I said, remember, in case you would get stuck, you level up your characters. You need here these 2 stages, the Poussière and the Mintage aesthetics, under the tab resource. Yeah, and then whenever you can't level up a character further, you, as I showed you earlier, click on the item and the game will lead you to the place where you can obtain the item, whatever the item you need might be, just like that here. Easy as that. Don't forget that you can refresh your stamina, because you will obtain what we call candy. You can see here lollipops and a jar of candy, gummy bears, everything like that. Put it in. Make sure though you do not do these daily purchases here on the left hand side on your screen. Wait a minute, let me go back. Here, the daily purchase that cost you 60 clear drops. Never ever do them, ever. You do not use your pull currency to refresh your stamina. Pull currency goes into characters and characters only, nothing else. Keep that in mind. The other candies that you have already available on the right hand side for yourself here, you can always freely use them. The main usage is to level up a character in case you are stuck, to obtain the resources or beat the story content for the pull currency. So get the correct characters. Know the priority, like story is first, then reflections and stuff like that, and avoid misinformation. There's so much misinformation out there for Reverse 1999. It's absolutely ridiculous. So be careful of who you listen to and what do you actually believe. The recommendation I would give you is join the Discord server, ping me, ask me, and I'm gonna lead you the way. And other people will gladly help me out, and they also know quite well what they're actually talking about, for the most part. But yeah, I mean, you get the point. And that's pretty much all you have to know about Reverse 1999. If you want like combat guides or how to play a character, how to play a team, what character belongs to what archetype, I have all of this content on my channel in the deepest detail you could possibly ask for. I explain everything. I cover entire teams, I cover characters, I have even guides on every single 5-star out there in this game. So yeah, feel free to check out my channel and or join the Discord server, ping me there so that I can help you out with any question you might have. Other than that, clear the content that is available to you and watch out that you use your unilocks well and go for the correct characters. We could talk about, in case you wanna go in, right? Most people that play a gacha game, they are willing to spend at least a little bit of money. So the stuff that would be recommended to purchase from the shop is an endless supply, and here we have something called a roaring month for $5 a month. That is the most recommended pack. Here you can see you get a weekly tribute for free. You have cheap packs here for $1. Sometimes there is a pack for $5 and everything. You have to know that the exchange rate here is that, let's say I spent $1, and for that $1 I want to obtain 1 Unilog. Whenever you would overpay, like for example, let's go for this pack right here that cost me $90. For $90 I would only obtain 40 Unilogs. The rest of the bunch here, the other items don't matter. For $90 I get 40 Unilogs. That is never a deal that you would ever take, because for $90, guess what? You want 90 Unilogs. At least like 87, 88 Unilogs, but you only get 40. That is something that you would never take. And this is also like a very good thing about Reverse1999. The video is not about how good this game is, but let me still tell you, right? In other games, the most expensive packs have the most amount of value. In Reverse1999, it is the exact opposite. The more pricey a pack is, the worse the value you get out of it is as well. Why is that a good thing? Because it keeps the difference of power level between free to play and whales in a realistic state. The more like you know, whales don't get nearly as much benefit and run away from free to plays when it comes to power level as it would be in other games. And this game here doesn't even have PvP. So yeah, I mean, the way this game is managed is absolute perfection, except for the part that is content, right? Content drought, that is the biggest issue that this game has. But anyways, now you know everything, right? Characters, priorities when it comes to content, the gacha system in this game, and where to look for information. It's my YouTube channel and it is my Discord server. Link in the description down below. That's it for me for today. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.